Welcome, viewers and listeners, to this live program, the Voice of the People program, coming from Channel 6 in Georgetown, Guyana. Your host, Jai Paul Sharma, and in the studio with me are Representative of the Rural Party, Mr. Charles Griffith, who you will see shortly, and Mr. Rahman. Today we will focus on topics of interest and also take calls from the member of the public of general concerns. Remember, this is the Justice Rural Party program, and here we communicate with our supporters and any other persons that may want to join our forum for discussion. It could belong to any political party. It's a free program, and it's to hear your voice, the voice of the people. So the voice of the people is not only supporters of the Justice Rural Party, but in general, the people of Guyana, and even from the diaspora, as this program is broadcast live and streamed live, persons from United States, Canada, Europe, and many other parts, country of the world actually will come into the program. However, there's only one telephone line, you understand, is in operation, and that is the 226 000 10.
What's the number?
And so that is the line.
225.
225 0010 is the number that is in operation presently. And so we'll take calls. As indicated on our previous program, our program take a slight shift in which we will introduce the panel. And the panel, each of them will give a presentation, and then we go into our discussion. So I have here in the studio Mr. Charles Griffith, and Mr. Charles Griffith will continue to focus on agriculture. You know, from the last program, he focused on what we refer to as a master plan. He would like to show Guyanese and the world that is looking and listening what a master plan consists of, and what those who could view the program, what it looked like, so you could have a better understanding. Mr. Griffith is now a member of the Justice Rural Party, a senior member of the Justice Rural Party. He's our technical person in relation to technology, engineering. He's an expert in the field. I refer to him as a scientist, and he will take us through what Guyana needs to do to become a manufacturing giant, second to none. It is simple. We have all the materials, the raw materials, but we probably don't have the skills presently. The skills exist, Guyanese exist, the skill set exists overseas. Mr. Griffith himself spent a lot of time in the United States, another part of the world, educating himself, and returned to Guyana to contribute. However, he was not successful in reaching the right people, and reaching the people in government, persons in government. However, he reached with me, and I took him on under my political party, the Justice Rural Party, where I will give him the opportunity to educate the people about his plans. And his plans is the party plan, the Justice Rural Party plan. These plans will trickle down to the APNU, and it's up to the APNU to determine if they want to go or take some pattern of the Justice Rural Party. But this is our plan. This is the Justice Rural Party plan. So, Mr. Griffith, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Good afternoon, colleagues out there and fellow Guyanese. What I'm going to do is to outline to you, I was talking about if we are going to move forward with the type of development we think that Guyana can be involved in. I am saying that we must prepare a master plan in every sector. 2008, I prepared a master plan for northern Rupununi, and that is specifically around the Bobo area for someone, but we could not get the type of investors to invest in the project. But today I'm going to present an overview of what that project looks like. And when our government is speaking about development into the intermediate savannas, I'm going to provide an opportunity to explain how an approach to do it. There are many approaches, but this is my approach that I have decided to present to you today. This is the Guyana map here. You got to come in, please. You got to come in closer. This is the Guyana map here. This is Georgetown. This is Linden. And you come on right down to Lethem. Lethem is shown here, and Goodall Pier Strip, which is South Pacaraima Mountain, is shown in this area. I'm going to take you over here to give you a better idea where that is located. This is the Linden Lethem Road is passing through this specific tract, which is 50 square miles, and this is the Goodall Pier Strip right here. This is northern Pacaraima Mountains. This is the Lethem Linden Road alignment. It passes through the property just on the right-hand side. This is the Rupununi River here. This is the Rupununi River here. And what usually happens during the rainy season, this entire area is flooded. But what we have done with this master plan is to prevent that flooding from impacting the agricultural development, as well as capturing any water that comes south of the Pacaraima Mountain for agricultural development. So there's a levee around there. What is a levee? A levee is a big dam that prevents water from destroying either cities, villages, or agricultural crops. I will take you over now to what the development looks like. It's a 50 square mile development, and there were 13 elements considered. And those elements were mostly for agriculture, and we allocate space for factories, for recreational facilities, as well as development. If we go to the northeastern section of where the development commences, you got to come in a little more. Where the development commences, Linden is in this area. Please follow me. And Lethem is going towards this area. This is South Pacaraima Mountains up here. And this development covers 50 square miles. Over here is Brazil. This is the Takutu River. It's Ureng at this point. This is the Takutu River. What we have done with this development, the first thing we have done is to capture the water, the rainwater that comes off the South Pacaraima Mountain. We capture the water here in a large canal. Then we prevent flooding from the area by putting a levee down here. A levee is a large dam, and on one side of that dam is a trench or a canal to connect any water from within the development. So what the levee does is to prevent water from getting into the development and prevent water from leaving the development only when you want it to leave the development. And at the bottom here is another levee. At the bottom here is another levee or a large dam to protect the water that comes off the Pacaraima Mountain from getting into the Rupununi and Riva River down at the bottom. These are the crops we proposed. On the foot of and as a matter of fact, as far as the soils are concerned, these soils do trap some water. And if we increase the capacity of the groundwater with this arrangement of channels and levee, we can maintain a good quantity of water on the development itself. So the first thing I'm going to talk, the next thing I'm going to talk about, we're going to plant cash crops on the foot of the mountain. And then we decided that we're going to plant lemongrass. When I was working at Guyana Pharmaceutical Corporation in the 80s, lemongrass was $80 an ounce. Now, lemongrass is almost $400 an ounce. So what we had done at that time in 2008 was decide to grow some lemongrass. And the amount of land we allocated for lemongrass was 420 acres, right in this area, right here. And the second crop we considered was passion fruit. We would have grown passion fruit in this area, and we have allocated 700 acres for that. Then there is tilapia. You can't use tilapia for making animal feed. As a matter of fact, you can use tilapia to contribute, to provide that animal protein contribution to animal feed. So we had allocated 985 acres for tilapia farming. What you're looking and seeing between here, it's interrelationships between the drainage canals, irrigation canals, and transportation linkages road to take you to the respective agricultural zones. Then there was sugarcane. We were going to use sugarcane to make ethanol at that time, and therefore we had allocated over 1,500 acres for sugarcane in that area. Then there was rice. The area for rice, in which we allocated 5,600 acres, and we would have used that rice for many products, making Rice Krispies, rice flakes, as well as an instant rice porridge. The other product we considered was black-eyed peas. Black-eyed peas we can extract the oil from black-eyed peas, as well as we can make a flake, a breakfast flake, out of black-eyed peas. As a matter of fact, when Mr. Burnham banned dal in the 70s because of balance of payments, and you know dal is Indian communities as well as black communities use dal, the replacement was supposed to be black-eyed peas. And all one needs to do was to add cumin to it, and then it would taste like dal. So in that context, we were going to use black-eyed peas not only to make flakes, as well as extract the oil from it. Carambola. This entire area on the right-hand side, we had allocated 5,700 acres for carambola. When I was at GPC, I'd like to talk about that. I was responsible for the carambola, candied rum flavor and mint flavor developed by Vashti Warner at GPC. We used to export most month over $300,000 US to foreign countries. But what has actually happened recently, the grape growers in California want to put more grapes into wine instead of putting it in confectionaries. And the replacement for raisins, because grapes make raisins, the replacement would be candied carambola. The other product that we considered was soybeans. We allocated 2,153 acres for soybeans, and that would have been placed in this area. The reason for growing soybeans is that we would have brought back Cerex. We manufacture Cerex, and Dr. Chin recently spoke about that in Kaituro News about 2 weeks ago. So that's a product that has a ready market. The other product, then we would have got involved in a large chicken and livestock development in this area. Guyanese, there are farms in Brazil that can produce 15 gallons of milk. They have cows that can produce 15 gallons of milk a day compared to what 3 and 4 we are producing. So we anticipated at that time that we would get involved in chicken and livestock, especially livestock production, and have factories for making ham and bacon, cottage cheese, pasteurized milk, milk powder, yogurt. Finally, if you're going to have a master development, you must have community facilities, community amenities. And up here around the airport, where the factories are located for export, we can either use air or we can use the road. But this area here is allocated for community development, for housing and other features and schools that you will have in a general agricultural development. So when you're talking about agricultural development and developing the intermediate savannas, these are the features you will have to present to investors. So you have to master plan those areas. And in another section of this program, I will show you how the corridors, the transportation utility corridors can be set up so that you can induce and invite developers to participate. Thank you ever so much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Griffith. And that was a presentation, a brief presentation by Mr. Griffith. We could take calls on that, but before we go into the calls, you notice that Mr. Rahman is sitting, and sitting in front of him is a number of bottles and packages. I did indicate it to you in the last program that we are promoting local. So I made contact with the Guyana Marketing Corporation, the Guyana Shop, and they sent to me few of the items that are produced locally. So we will promote these products in our program. And so Mr. Rahman, I will ask you to make your opening comments, and during the course of the program, we shall also identify these products and who are the manufacturer of these products. Each and every one of them are local. Some of them are very neatly packaged, properly packaged. Some of them have recycling done because they use plastic bottles from beverage companies. However, it's properly sterilized. But you know, if you want to trade internationally, if you want to sell these products internationally, you must showcase them in even more better packaging. And towards packaging, we're asking our business community and the manufacturing sector and business community in the whole that if they can invest in packaging, the best packaging plan possible, so these manufacturers will carry the product and have the best quality packaging. A person usually buys something because it packaged well. It probably don't taste good and not good for you, but people are fooled easily in the way it's packaged. We in Guyana don't like to fool people. We give you good things. But because how it's packaged, sometimes it turns you off and you go for an imported product that packaged nicely. Mr. Rahman, over to you.
Let me commend Charles Griffith. We need to recognize in our country that we do have experts. You're right when you said he's a scientist. Because he has done what he's explained. Those who don't know, and that is why we have brought these local produced food so that Guyanese can see that there is expertise in this country. The Guyanese, thousands of Guyanese living in this country and abroad, so we don't need to look for experts. We have experts in all sectors of the economy. And Charles is one of the many experts that is associated with us, and you can see that when you have a man like Mr. Charles as Minister of Agriculture, you know what you're going to get. Or if he is responsible for particular areas of economic development, you are sure that you will get what he says he's going to do. Minister, I wanted to focus on this question of corruption. You know, I've been talking a lot about corruption. This government did a very good job. It brought into, SOCO was there, but it has brought in SARA, which is an agency that looks into the level of corruption that went on during the last government. I know that you are not happy with, because I read this report in Parliament, and I read what you said, and it's a damning report, and the reasons why you were quite upset. I agree with that, because I myself are very disturbed about the level of complacency on behalf of those two agencies who were set up, and we're spending millions of taxpayers' money, but we're not getting the kind of result. So there's something that is fundamentally wrong right at the head of these organizations. And we as activists and taxpayers, we are demanding accountability. And you are spot on. I hope that the other ministers and other people will support you and bring accountability, financial and democratic accountability. So I will expect you to speak on this particular subject matter, to explain a little bit more. I have noticed that you've listed in the article that came out that reported, you have listed a number of agencies that are under investigation, and not one of these people have been charged. You have last year I saw you handing over to the Commissioner of Police a number of reports. I guess you have to tell us what has happened to that report, or you're responsible to hand over. I know your agents, your ministry is not responsible for charging anybody, and that's something that needs to be explained. People say the president is not doing anything about these reports and these investigations. It is not the duty of the president or even yourselves or any other ministers to bring to justice somebody who have committed some infraction. We have these agencies, SARA and SUKO, the police, and they're the ones who are responsible for investigating first of all, gathering the evidences, charging the people, putting them in front of court. A problem that we have, I have said it over and over again, I want to repeat it. We need to set up an independent anti-corruption court, and we need to bring judges from abroad. I am not confident that we have the capable judges who understand this whole question of corruption and the depths of which these corrupt practices that has infiltrated and are part and parcel of our society. And corruption is a wide thing. When we talk about corruption, we mean bribery, theft, white-collar crime, all these things and more. The president a year or 2 years ago said that the private sector, people who are involved in businesses, are the ones who are engaged seriously in corrupting public officials. I don't think, and I agree with you, that we need to introduce better laws, to enforce better laws so that public officials, whether they are elected or they are appointed officials, that when they commit an infraction or you suspect that they will do that and you charge them and put them in front of court, that they must be severely punished so that others will learn. But I agree with you, these two agencies are not functioning and they need to function. Look at Berbice, they're complaining all the time. You look at their blogs and so on, all the time they're complaining about corruption, but nothing seems to happen. We need to have a sea change in the people who are responsible, the police or senior policemen. We need to have a sea change. And unless we can fundamentally, we have got to root out corruption. We will have to root out those people who are responsible for investigating and put better people there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rahman. Yes, I did make a few comments at a seminar that was conducted at the Parliament building, hosted by a consultant, Dr. Sam Sitlington. It was my understanding that this request was made by the opposition in Parliament, that is the PVPC, to invite Sam Sitlington to speak on anti-bribery, corruption, fraud, money laundering. However, apparently it seems it was a setup by the opposition to attack Sam Sitlington, Dr. Sam Sitlington. It was orchestrated setup to attack the goodly gentleman who is doing what he was asked to do in relation to support the Guyana police force in equipping them professionally to handle such crimes. Corruption, bribery, anti-money laundering, and those type of things. So Mr. Sitlington there was giving his presentation, and when it came to the point where there was the participants was to ask questions, you would have read that the PPP MP, Ari Gill, after questioning Dr. Sam, said he should resign. He should resign as the advisor to the Special Organized Crime Unit. Why they're asking for his resignation? Because they want this consultant who's from the UK to go after government ministers because of the articles in newspaper. So there's a number of articles accusing government ministers, all sorts of things that is linked to corruption. And they ask this consultant why he's not going after this thing. I don't know. Any government will bring a consultant in, and this particular consultant is not government, is not no ministry. It is linked to the Commissioner of Police, in particular the unit, the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU. So the question was asked, why are you not going after the ministers that you would see in the newspaper? The gentleman answered nicely, nothing is before the Special Organized Crime Unit concerning those ministers, else I would advise, which is very good, a very good answer. So the PPP got denied support, the MPs got denied, and they said, look, I think you should resign. You're not functioning as an advisor. And so even Gail Teixeira got in, the MP, the honorable member got into the discussion and say, what is your terms of reference? And he said he being Dr. Sam said it's public knowledge. And however, she denied that this is so. But I could tell you, if you're an advisor and a consultant, you only could advise on what before you. The only thing is before him is what the Special Organized Crime Unit is looking at, including the forensic audit reports that was presented personally by myself to the Commissioner of Police, both of them, then Commissioner of Police Silal, Acting Commissioner of Police David Ramnarine. And the police are investigating those matters. So I was annoyed, and I said, wait. How is it the opposition want this goodly gentleman, Dr. Sam Sittleton, and other consultants that visit Sugu, to investigate government ministers and want immediate action when I deliver these reports over 2 years now to the Guyana Police Force and I'm not seeing no prosecution? So I was asking if they are reasonable in the attack against this consultant. Here I have evidence, and remember I was responsible for these forensic reviews. It is termed forensic audit, but it's forensic review. Done by professional accountants and auditors. These investigation was done looking at paper. So we follow paper trail, and we are saying, I personally, when the audit was being conducted, every month I will request of each and every of the auditor to visit my office. I will go through the report in detail. I will even ask to file a report if I'm not happy. That was my job. I was to supervise this thing. I would not take any kind of report that was brought to me. In some cases, I had to take some of the reports because the auditor themselves say, I'm not going to go any farther unless you pay me more money. You're wasting my time because the agency is not giving me the information. However, some of the auditors was cooperative, and they say, Minister Sharma, we know the reality in Guyana. When you ask for something within 24 hours, actually you got to wait 24 months. And so they were willing to wait for whatever information that was requested. We waited something 24 months and we didn't get the information. And these are agencies that are government. We are in government. I asking you to give me information. And there was reluctance. They couldn't find information. Sometimes, I had to say, hey, this is government doing an internal audit, and I'm asking you to give the information. That is the reason why we had to send off certain persons, heads of agency, on administrative leave or send them on vacation because they were tampering with the investigation.
Evidence.
And no, there was affecting the investigation by not supplying the information. And so the investigation was stalled. That is the forensic review investigation will start. However, when we send those persons off, then we start getting information and we progress. So that is the reason why, remember these audits was to last like about 6 weeks. So you can imagine a man put in an invoice to me for 6 weeks and it almost took a year. So this is how accommodating these professional accountants, financial auditing firms in Guyana was so nice in allowing us to extend the time. I appreciate it. Now, when you send this report to the police now is calling these people to assist them with understanding the report or answer additional questions. I didn't pay them for that. So I must commend each and every one of the individual accountants, auditors, and firms that participated in the forensic review of agencies. I never went after ministry. That wasn't my target. That wasn't what I was asked to do. Up to today, I'm waiting for the authority to go into the ministry to audit whatever evidence there that previous ministers expended money. Then you're going to see the fraud. So by chance, I indicated to you, whistleblower information lead us to one former minister, and that former minister is now before the court for 600-something million. 600-something million unaccounted for, almost $1 billion unaccounted for. And that was by accident. So I'm annoyed, because I know what work I participated in. I assisted produce quality reports with these auditors. So I know when I give the reports to the Guyana Police Force, it's paperwork. They have to now find the hard evidence. They have to now go and get statement, maybe a confession, or prove that indeed this paper that I'm looking at was not a fake paper. It was authentic, and it could stand up in court. So that is what the police is doing. The auditors themselves are restricted from going into the accounts of individuals. So the auditor can't accuse a manager of an agency of corruption unless they go into the account and see the man have a couple, well, 100 million Guyana dollars or even billions. As you know, one case with a former permanent secretary of the president, and also a executive, the head of the PYO of the PPP party, had billions of dollars in his account. And he was a permanent secretary of the office of the president.
So 10 billion?
Billions of dollars.
10 billion?
Billions. And so this is the reality. So you could see why I'm angry. I am the one that's responsible. I know what I found. And the police now is getting a hard time in getting the evidence to prosecute. Now, I'm angry not over the prosecution, because we carry people to court. We carry people to court. So we charge in terms, when I say we, it may be a little confusing. Because of my report with the auditors, I term it we. I'm not terming we as the government. The team. We carry a report to the police did the investigation, there are some charges. So I'm not annoyed with that. What I'm annoyed with, there are a number of cases before the police legal advisor and the DPP that is not seeing the daylight of the court. It's stuck in their office. And I want to know from this consultant what he's doing about that. I want to know if he's speaking with these individuals, seeing what are the problems, see if they need more staff. Maybe the police legal advisor need an ex-advisor. Because the police legal advisor cannot alone look at all the criminal matters in this country, including fraud, corruption. So I don't want that to be excuse. Tell me if you need somebody else. The government going to give the commissioner of police 2 or 3 more, maybe, legal advisors to assist the Guyana Police Force. They're doing a wonderful job. The entire Guyana Police Force is doing a wonderful job. But as government, we need to assist them if they're short of resources. Now, I don't know if the DPP is short of resources, I don't know if the Special Organized Crime Unit is short of resources, so I asked this consultant, do they need additional staff there? Because the, the, the subject minister himself, the Honorable Cameron Ramdatan, Minister of Public Security, also increased the mandate of the Special Organized Crime Unit to probably include everything that the police force must investigate. So I'm wondering if indeed the unit of the Guyana Police Force have sufficient staff. The consultants say no, they're overworked, they have a lot of cases. Each one of them have at least about 6 investigations, technical investigations to do. So that is why I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed there's no conviction. I know they are in the process of prosecution, but there's no conviction. So the papers probably quote me wrong. I'm terribly annoyed over conviction. Because to me, it was easy. I'm seeing it on paper. You just go and get the evidence and do your job. I'm annoyed also because it was raised in National Assembly yesterday by an MP of the opposition, Dharmlal, who's also one of them that was charged in the GRDB matter. And he's raising it. Isn't that ridiculous? You are fingering something and you raising something and want to embarrass me, the minister? Well, he wasn't charged, or the PVP is claiming those people of GRDB that are board members wasn't charged because they're board members. They were charged because they were signatories to the account. And so the PVP will mislead the nation to say, we charge PPP board members only. Because all the board members, the majority of them was PPP anyway.
That's right.
But we didn't charge them because they were board members, because they were signatories to the account that was, guess what, conveniently omitted from the financial statement. So if you sign in checks for hundreds of millions of dollars, you also a board member, and the financial statement got to come to you. You approving this financial statement, and you see in this account that you signing checks was not listed. So this is what I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed because also I am, as you know, I don't like to talk a lot. I'm a man of very few words. Probably I don't come off clearly, and that is because I have an illness. And that illness is what most Guyanese probably have.
Silence.
No, it's being a diabetic.
Okay.
So being a diabetic, you get thirsty quick. Your saliva will turn to paste, and so you have these issues as being a diabetic. Now I didn't take my illness and sit down and moan and groan about it. I actually use that illness. You know, people say, if life gives you a lemon, you make it a lemonade. Well, I use that illness. And the reason I'm so angry and I'm so focused is because of being a diabetic. Diabetic actually is the angry people. They have a very short fuse. And because they're hungry. So if I don't eat, I be angry. So when the question was asked, when the member of parliament posed the question, I didn't have anything to eat. And so I became very angry and upset. So when I want to control my anger, I actually don't speak, or I go and eat something very quickly to get my sugar up. So these are some of the things. So I take this and make it my strength. I actually be happy when I'm doing investigation. If I'm asked to do an investigation, because I grew up in the environment of investigation. Since I started the public service life as an auditor, a young auditor in 1993 at the age of 18, that was my focus, investigation. Those people I worked with was like the President Auditor General of Guyana, Mr. Deodat Sharma. But he was not Auditor General then. I worked under Dr. Gulsaran, who saw my potential. and, and give me greater responsibility to carry out high-level investigations. However, I was supervised by many persons in the audit office, and all of them appreciate my work. If they should ever speak about me, you're going to hear the type of work I produce. So this opposition don't know me, and I enjoy. If I have to work 12 midnight as being a public servant to get the conclusion of investigation, I would have worked. If I had worked 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to conclude the investigation, I would have worked. Investigation is what makes me alive, because you don't have to talk, you're just thinking. You're just thinking how this fraud was committed, and you follow the paper trail. So because of that, I don't speak a lot, and it suits the kind of illness I may be having and suffering with. Also, I love cooking, because it keeps you active in the kitchen, in the heat, and you also burn the sugar. I don't eat when I cook, so don't get confused. I just like that. So these are some of the things, and why you would see sometimes I'm very angry. If I silent, I'm even more angrier. If I silent, it's because I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'll forget you. So you don't want me silent, you want me talking. So we could go to the lines to take some call. Caller, you're there.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon.
Now, when we're looking at the investigation, I think when police or anybody have to investigate, they have to investigate it, to pick and choose.
Please speak up for me.
Speak up.
If people have to investigate, you don't have to investigate and pick and choose. Both parties
Investigate
or
and pick
anybody,
and choose? Nobody's pick and choosing.
and if I commit a crime, investigate me. If you and me driving one car, you can't investigate me unless you. Also, we gotta investigate.
I think you
And
have
the
this whole thing
and the next thing, what?
confused. So this is not pick and choosing. I was given a list of government agencies. If you don't understand what's a government agency or statutory body, educate yourself. These are things that is placed in the budget, every single budget, but members of parliament is not allowed to ask questions. They are subject to separate audits. These audits are not part of the Auditor General report, but a separate report. It's statutory agency. I didn't went after any minister. And so these agencies was all headed by PPP people. So if I found the fraud, who you want to go after? Now, presently, I'm investigating our own people, permanent secretaries and REOs, and so that commit infractions. Those reports are before me. Caller, you in there?
Yeah, Mr. Jaipal, how are you doing, sir?
Okay.
All right. I want to say God bless the APNU, the AFC, government, and Mr. Nagamutu, and the minister there, include you, Mr. Jaipal, for thieving the taxpayer money and robbing the taxpayer them.
Okay.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, thank you.
You got a nice opportunity.
Yes, so of course you will expect those people that will come into you, and they're free, but you know, it means they have a motive, and that is how you start as a criminal, right? That is how I will identify a criminal, because it's preconceived. It wasn't an accident that the money fall down and went in your pocket. You plan it out, right? Caller in there.
Yes, one more question I have now.
Yes.
Now with this press conference here, I observed like in Guyana, with press conference, I can't over the country end up. So now to get two press conference a day, morning half day, and you could get press conference and half day, the amount of problem you all put this country in, you could get a next press conference.
Okay, good, thank you. So I just want to remind the callers that I have your number, and if you're going to come in to speak of things that make no sense, interrupt the program, I will put your number on the air, and I could even, probably locate you also. So don't call in the program. Don't call in the program. Don't call and disrupt the program. If you have nothing good to say, don't call. And don't waste our time.
You need to record your numbers.